Story 1. Going from believing I'm insane while everyone else is normal to thinking I'm the one who is normal and everyone else is crazy to finally feeling like I'm crazy and everyone else is joining me. Story 2. I'm constantly going back and forth between wondering what the point is and believing that things have to get better at some point. Story 3. I am in my early 30s and feeling worse than ever. I doubt I will reach 40, and I don't want to. Why would I? There seems to be nothing left for me except the prospect of aging. Story 4. Anxiety has made me stop smiling. My family situation is not good. I don't have a job and I feel lonely. I'm becoming more insecure day by day as I see people on Reddit able to go on dates while I am here thinking about what my next career move should be. Story 5. Generally not bad. At this moment, not great. However, it has been a lot worse, so swings and roundabouts, I guess. Story 6. Depends. My mind tends to focus on pain above everything else. It's strange, but it's true. Losing focus can lead to feelings of depression. Story 7. Lucky to find cycling. A great tip if you are feeling down is to try cycling. It is excellent exercise, provides a good community of people, and you can eat as many carbohydrates as you want as long as you ride. Story 8. Some days are good, while others are not as much. I lost my best friend at the age of 25 a few years ago, which has taken a huge toll on me. It's hard to find motivation most days. I suppose the world has affected me already. Story 9. I feel tired, as if I need a week with no events and no responsibilities, just relaxing at home to reset. My mind feels scrambled, but I am not depressed or anything of that nature, so I consider it a positive. Story 10. Better than average. I do not worry about things I cannot control and only focus on what I can do for myself and my family. It makes a world of difference. I do not get sucked into social media, except for Reddit sometimes. People become so fixated on the government and what is happening next door that it consumes their existence, and I had to get away from the negativity. This has made my life so much more pleasant. I do not miss it at all. Story 11. The best it has ever been. God is good, and I can give him my burdens. He gives me peace, joy, and his presence. Story 12. Caught between generations, with everything feeling like a potential issue. Story 13. I guess it is good. If you are asking whether I am happy right now, I can clearly say no, but I am still at peace with myself. I will experience happiness and unhappiness, and life goes on. Story 14. I'm in a tough spot in life right now, but I'm consistent with my medication and self-care. I believe it will get better because I keep trying to improve my situation. Story 15. Currently going through postpartum. It has been quite challenging for me. However, I am finally starting to feel like the fog is clearing, but it did not happen until after I shaved my head. Story 16. Honestly, I feel pretty mentally healthy. Of course, there are days when I don't feel my best, but I think that is normal. Generally, I feel very healthy. However, it seems like 90% of the rest of my generation can't relate, which is confusing and concerning. Story 17. I feel good. I am neither anxious nor depressed. I have normal emotional responses to situations and can manage any additional challenges in a healthy manner. Story 18. Generally, it is not a horrible situation. I work in healthcare and dislike my job more every day. I recently finished a day where a patient refused to have their blood pressure taken and declined COVID and flu testing despite having upper respiratory infection symptoms. This patient was simply being difficult. Another patient came to us for a drug screen but did not want to follow the established policies for drug screening, which are beyond our control. She began yelling at my medical assistant, and things escalated quite a bit. Days like that make me despise the job. It's an urgent care facility, and I refer to it as retail medicine. In this day and age, everything revolves around reviews, which makes the situation even worse. Patients feel entitled and believe they can dictate what they will or will not do, as well as what we should do. I truly dislike it. If I'm being honest, I wish I had chosen a different career. Story 19. Some days I feel fine, but other days I feel awful. It feels like a balance of both. The intensity of my bad days seems to be gradually increasing and worsening over time. Story 20. I can do better. I have fallen into the post-relapse stage and it has been 3 weeks. I received a few childhood photos of me and my best friend who passed away 2 years ago. Her birthday is coming up soon, which is painful. Work has been going great. It has been the highlight of my weeks, and I am getting closer to everyone. I am actually making some work friends. I find myself in the stage where life is feeling somewhat good, but I am not sure what to do with it. The last time I felt this way, my great-grandmother passed away, and I am approaching the 1-year anniversary of her death. Story 21. I am originally from South Africa. Australia is a great place to be, and I feel very lucky to be here. My mental health is good, despite going through a pending divorce, which may lead to further improvement in my well-being. I had a nice day by the sea, and I feel mentally refreshed. Story 22. Best it has ever been. I have spent the past 10 years engaging in various therapies, and properly prescribed medication has helped tremendously. Story 23. It's fine. I despise Trump with a passion I didn't know existed in me. He deserves every bit of my dislike. Story 24. Mental health should not be about ignorance or protection from specific scenarios. It should focus on how you react to those scenarios and your capacity to challenge and regulate yourself through them. I would say I am fairly decent at this. Story 25. In my mid-20s, life isn't perfect, but it's significantly better than it was in my teens and early 20s. I don't attribute this improvement solely to my circumstances. Instead, I believe it stems from an increase in maturity and an enhanced ability to cope with challenges. Story 26. I feel like a psychiatrist, mentally without emotions, logically rational, but at the same time suspicious. Story 27. I'm feeling less anxious than I have in years. However, I have stopped talking to 2 family members, which has been tough for me. My mother left the house one day and moved in with my grandmother, which is fortunate because my mother is self-centered, and living with her has felt like walking on eggshells. She took advantage of my kindness. My grandmother's response to all of this, even when I had run out of the house in tears because my mother wouldn't stop screaming and threatening me, was that she didn't mean it. She loves you. I love my grandmother, and it hurts to not talk to her anymore, but I refuse to keep excusing abuse. Story 28. Is Reddit just a collection of depressed individuals? Why are there many more comments indicating that people are doing worse than better? Story 29. I am doing well. I am a bit concerned about my future career, but I know I will do something meaningful with my life. Story 30. I have been feeling better since I stopped using social media, and I would likely feel even better if I could also stay away from Reddit and ignore the news. My situation has improved since starting my medication for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I feel better when I avoid alcohol. The weather is also nicer, and the days are longer. However, I feel worse since quitting cannabis, although my overall health has improved. I have less time to exercise, which contributes to my feelings. Day-to-day life is manageable, but I still experience intense mood swings. Today is one of those days. I am in a foul mood and dislike everything about myself, including my appearance and circumstances. Thankfully, these feelings occur less frequently than before. Story 31. Thanks to finally committing to therapy and giving it a genuine effort, I am living my best life with my mental health. Thank you, therapy. Story 32. At 46, my mental health is such that I don't care anymore. If you choose to believe that the Earth is flat, the moon landing is fake, and the sky isn't blue, that's your choice. I won't lose sleep over it. Story 33. I'm not really sure what to say, to be honest. I was admitted to a psychiatric ward yesterday. I am not trying to seek sympathy. I am just answering the question. Story 34. Honestly, I am on a much brighter path after finding a really good psychotherapist. I wish peace and healing for us all. Story 35. I'm taking significant and sometimes aggressive steps to protect myself. It's very uncomfortable. I have a strong tendency to please others but lack the assertiveness needed, so trying not to be a people pleaser makes me feel like I'm being mean all the time. However, I'm fairly certain that's just how people say no. Story 36. It's okay. It could be better, though. I'm on mental health medication, so it's much better since then. Before, I was very depressed. Story 37. It's overwhelming and distressing. I worry that my mom and husband might be right about me being a terrible person and wife. I've faced mental health challenges since I was a child. At 40, I feel like things will never improve, despite my efforts. I used to find support from my husband, but now it feels like we only argue or tread carefully around one another. I sense he might be considering leaving or emotionally withdrawing. Story 38. As long as I can have hours of alone time with just my technology and a good Wi-Fi connection, I am content. Socializing with the cashiers at the supermarket and gas stations is enough for me. I do not feel unhealthy self-isolating. Quite the opposite. I recharge during my downtime, allowing my energy to recover. Story 39. I am a nightmare working hard to be just a bad dream. Mental health issues have been part of my life for a while, but I cannot give up on myself. Story 40. Each trauma is organized in its own tote now. The particularly severe ones had to be placed in a tote within another tote and then shoved into a dark corner. Response to how I am doing okay. Story 41. I keep discovering more concerning issues regarding my physical health, which is taking a significant toll on my mental well-being. It feels like the world is ending, but I know it is just my world. It hasn't fully hit me yet since I was diagnosed on Thursday. I plan to seek a second opinion, but my health has left me feeling exhausted lately. Story 42. It's better than it has been for a good while, mostly. Compared to the low point I experienced a few years ago, I am feeling absolutely uplifted. Story 43. Alright, I guess I am rethinking many life choices I made. It is not a very good situation to fall into on a Saturday morning. Story 44. I am cautiously optimistic. Over the last few years, I have experienced many shifts in perspective. I have deconstructed my understanding of Christianity and begun to embrace non-duality. The tragedy of climate change is being accepted, though not feared as the death sentence it could be. Population collapse is also acknowledged but not seen as the end of the economic world. Artificial intelligence is being embraced, though I hope it will not take over the world or cause destruction. I have finally discovered outlets and directions for my creativity. Overall, I feel good personally. Understanding that every generation faces the risk of existential annihilation has brought me some relief. Story 45. I am 32 years old. I have never felt this suicidal before, and I am struggling to leave my doctor because I have only felt disappointment from him and the hospital. Story 46. I have accepted some aspects of myself. I am trying to motivate myself to take action before I feel overwhelmed. Story 47. Incredible. I suffered from depression for 10 years. Ever since overcoming it, my mind has been extremely resilient and my baseline has been high. Story 48. I am just counting the minutes for it to be over. I'm not dying, but I'm scared for our country and for older people like us, including veterans and those with disabilities, as well as social security concerns. Story 49. A 37-year-old disgruntled veteran stopped maturing at 20, has a cynical outlook, experiences noisy brain fog 75% of the time, and holds a deeply rooted belief that irony is the one true religion. Honestly, it's all about perspective, and so far, I find it a comfortable mix of beauty and horror. Story 50. A solid 6 out of 10. I am very happy with my marriage and social life. I love my friends, my wife, and my pets, and I am very appreciative of them. I have come to really enjoy and indulge in my interests and hobbies and feel enthusiastic about them. I no longer fear being a nuisance when I talk to someone about the new game I am excited for or the new figure I have added to my collection. My self-esteem has always been low and still is. We have recently moved to a new place after many years of living in the same old, falling apart home I have lived in my entire life. The only area that could improve is my career. I work long hours in an environment that demands more work than I can provide. I am not really sure I am heading in the right direction or even making progress at all. Story 51. My mental health is not very good at the moment. I constantly feel depressed because of my circumstances. The only thing that makes me feel somewhat better is having conversations with others online who share my interests. Story 52. I am struggling to maintain a job and often find it difficult to get out of bed. I feel overwhelmed and exhausted, but I am pressured to keep working by societal expectations and economic demands. Story 53. Totally numb. This is the best it has been in my adult life. Mental health is not such a hindrance when you have run out of concern. Story 54. I am feeling very anxious. I work for a company whose primary focus is selling to the United States government, and most of my client agencies have halted all procurement, leading to uncertainty. My wife and I were in the process of moving our belongings to our new home when the moving truck caught fire, destroying everything we owned. We continue to our home, which we have owned since October, only to discover that the pet sitter we hired never checked our master bedroom. Apparently, our cat has been using it as a bathroom for over a month, so the entire place has a strong odor. I am struggling to cope. Story 55. Doing well. I took some paid time off for a mental reset. I am keeping busy this weekend, going to a few concerts with my boyfriend and enjoying the time. I lost 2.5 pounds this week, so I am feeling proud. It may be different a week from now, but right now I feel good. Story 56. Absolutely terrible by most standards, good by mine. Yes, that's my life. Good to me, bad for others. Don't worry, I'm not planning to harm myself. I do not need help. Story 57. Not great. I am not where I thought I would be by now, and every day is the same. I feel that making change is incredibly hard now, especially when that change could easily make life harder. Story 58. I've always had anxiety, but since deciding to switch careers, it's gotten really bad. For the first 6 months of my new degree, I would describe it as extreme. When I recognized it as an identity crisis, I was fine for a week before developing a severe heart condition, which turned out to be psychosomatic and caused by anxiety. Now I'm using Ativan almost every night before an important conference that could bring me closer to getting a job. I'm experiencing severe racing thoughts when trying to sleep. It has been rough, but really, overall, I'd say I'm doing great. Story 59. I'm distracting myself with video games because we separated in mid-December. It used to be much worse from then until last month. Is it over? I don't know. I think much of it comes from feeling overwhelmed because life became difficult for her in early December, which complicated her anxiety. She didn't want to feel like a burden, even though I never felt burdened by her. I still feel wistful and sad, hoping to get back what we had. We've both faced challenges in our lives. I never felt that my love for her was out of pity or obligation. I never felt like I was settling for less. We were whole once, and now we're not. Story 60. I am done. I feel overwhelmed. I do not think I have any options left. I will take some time to sort things out, but I feel finished. Story 61. I am having trouble with my obsessive-compulsive disorder and anxiety. I keep thinking about what plans to make for the next week. I replay what people have said and done to me in the past in my mind. Story 62. The last 2 years, my anxiety and stress have been overwhelming. One negative thing after another has happened, and there is nothing positive at the moment. The lack of a support system from family and friends does not help. Story 63. This may sound entitled, but I have a good life. I am employed, have a supportive spouse, children, no major medical problems, hobbies, and friends. Yet, I feel sad about everything happening in the world. When I consider how grateful I should be for having so much more than others, it makes me feel depressed again for being ungrateful. It is fear and anxiety in my mind. Story 64. They tell me I am depressed. I say I am just paying attention. Maybe paying attention is a mental illness. Story 65. Even the most successful people struggle with mental health. Don't blame yourself because, after all, we are only human. They say when you are depressed, talk about it. But really, who does that help? Losing someone close or a beloved pet, the government, a lost love, or a financial crisis can be overwhelming. Only when you consider giving up do you reach out for help, only to feel stepped on for being sad. You might begin to have a glimmer of faith in some kind of religion, only to be let down by discovering it's just a scapegoat for something deeper. I don't want to shove pills down my throat to feel happy. I don't want to talk to a stranger about my problems. Everyone has problems. If we all put our problems in a pile, we would likely take ours back. I appreciate everyone sharing their feelings about mental health in forums, as it can be difficult to open up to a spouse, mother, or father. I was once at the bottom with a drug addiction, and the person I was working for gave up on me before I gave up on myself. I have faced dark moments, but every time I consider giving in, I think of leaving my mother after losing my brother. Watching her suffer every day after losing both her children is incredibly hard. There are still days when I just want to end it all. What makes you stronger is making it to the next day in this game of life. It may not seem like it, but it's true. Developing a dark sense of humor can help sometimes. For some, spilled milk feels like the world is ending. For others, it's just a funny moment. I'm not a psychiatrist or an important person. I'm just a hotel maintenance technician trying to find my place in this world without my big brother around anymore. I am important to a few people and 2 wonderful cats. If you can't be strong for yourself, try to be strong for someone else. What's that song? Everybody hurts. Love yourself the best way you can. Story 66. Really good. And I'm deeply unhappy. But there is such a resolution and relief when you understand certain issues in the world and society better. Reading the news can be increasingly frustrating as you realize the inaccuracies reported by journalists. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.